Hello everybody, and just here, and welcome back to Revue Starlight. The main series might have ended, and it did in fact end last week. We've seen the finale, and oh boy, what a finale it was. And today we're watching the OVAs plural, because I initially was under the impression that every OVA is around 20 something minutes, that they're essentially, how should I say it? Maybe not old school OVAs, but the kind of an OVA that's a whole episode in and of itself. Maybe consists of multiple little vignettes, but all in all is a full episode. But from what I see, every OVA in the bunch of three is 6 minutes long. So I guess we're just gonna watch all three of them in a single sitting. And after the OVAs, I will probably stream the recap movie, and then I'm gonna watch the sequel movie. And that will be the end of Revue Starlight on my channel, unless something else in the IP appears in the future. It seems to be kind of like multi-faceted IP, I guess. There's a game, there's some live plays on a scene. There is the movie, there's the OVAs, there's the season proper. So I'm not discounting the possibility of a second season or maybe a second movie or something like that coming in the future. Hopefully, because there is a lot of potential to this franchise. So we'll see about that. As far as the OVAs themselves are concerned, I know absolutely nothing about them. Yeah, that's better. I know absolutely nothing about them. Seeing how they are 6 minutes long, I don't predict particularly much like lore and world building and whatnot to be enclosed within them. They're probably just some little slice of life, little vignettes of, I don't know, Mahiru waking up Karen, or Futaba arguing with Kauruko, or, stuff like that. That's what I'm expecting. A little bit of fluff, a little bit of slice of life, something to wind us down after the absolute madness that was the finale of the series proper. Do I have anything more to say? I don't think so. I just hope this fan going back and forth doesn't bother you. But it's really hot. It's the middle of the night, 2 in the morning, actually, and it's still so ungodly hot. Fuck global warming, is all I have to say. Yeah, with that, I guess we're just gonna have to start it, right? So subs, as usual, as always, sound, and we can start watching it. It's the version by Ripple, if you are wondering. Some people recommended a different version for the movie, so the movie I'm gonna watch with the different subs. But right now, the OVAs, we're watching Ripple. I don't think there's gonna be anything of particular importance in those OVAs, so the quality of the subs shouldn't be all that crucial. And another thing, before we start, you can support my channel on Patreon, on Throne, or by just sharing my content. Sharing my content is one of the best ways to support the channel, actually. So if you know someone who you could shill my content to, be not afraid and shill it. And also, if you support me on Patreon for $10, you get early access to Revue Starlight, to Symphogear, and to whatever other non-seasonal show I pick up. It'll probably be Madoka Magica. I'm gonna put it up for a vote for my Patreons, but let's be honest, Madoka Magica will probably win. Okay, with all that out of the way, we can finally start watching the first OVA of Shoujo Kageki Revue Starlight version by Ripple. And we can do that in 3, 2, 1, go. sparks are still here. Ah, Measurements Day. At least it's not banana water, I guess. $99.41419 measuring, yeah. Is it just a whole episode about taking their measurements? Damn, Futaba is short. I didn't notice before just how short she is. There's an actual photo here. Armhole. They're speaking in terms of costumes. I was wondering what the fuck is an armhole? Claire for Hikari. Yep. All you need is a presence. You don't need a stature. Yeah, exactly. What's that, Hikari? I don't think it's just your height. I think it's also your general demeanor and hairstyle. Strawberry and rhubarb. Used to have ice in it, but it's long since melted. Hmm? They're not that big. Yeah, stage girl inequality. Okay, so it really is just fluff, but what's Hikari's deal here? She's been very subdued, wanting to say something but never saying it. Interesting. What? Well, she was very short but still made it onto the stage or something like that? Is what you're trying to say, Hikari? That's some cool animation on their hands. Yeah, what about it? Yeah, it's about height. The presence on the stage is what matters, the glimmer, not your stature, again. I'm gonna trust you on that. I have no way of verifying whether it's true or not. Yeah, she's clearly passionate about the stage in general. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, kinda. Weird to see Hikari so bashful. Yeah. You can always wear heels or platforms. Okay, first name basis. Ah, a real knee slapper, that one. A real knee slapper. You wouldn't say that, but whatever you say, Banana. Whatever you say. And that's it, I guess. Kind of hard to place those OVAs chronologically, but I'm under the impression at least this one takes place like after. Mm, okay, you know what? Let's go in order. Let's go in order. So, let's go through it again, shall we? As usual. I don't know if there's particularly much to go through here. They're taking measurements, Hikari is very bashful, and it's all really about Futaba's complex based on her height. She would very much like to be a little bit taller, but alas, she isn't. And talking with other people, she finally realizes that it's not just her stature that matters on stage, but her stage presence that matters. If you're short, but you take the stage for yourself, no matter how small you are, you will fill the entire stage. And Futaba very much seems to be the type to just fill the entire stage with her presence. So she has nothing to worry about when it comes to her height. I know that she is supposed to be some archetype in like classic Japanese theater. Someone told me the particular name, but essentially a woman who plays the role of man, the prince archetype, I guess, but they are usually taller than the other actresses, and she's short, so she doesn't exactly fill that role, and she has a complex on that part, something along those lines. But yeah, thankfully she learns that she can just make up for it with her fervor. Why is Karen not being measured? And she's just swinging a baseball around? I don't know. I have absolutely no clue. Christian McArdle, some song, and some really cool hand animation. For a moment, actually, still, I'm not sure if it's CG or 2D. I think it might be rotoscoped. Or maybe not. Maybe not. I think it might actually be drawn, not even rotoscoped. I think the color of the outline of the fingernails is throwing me off when it comes to whether it's CG or 2D, but I think it actually might be 2D. More cool hand animation. And yeah, she was very short, but her brilliant smile, her glimmer, her stage presence, and she got a leading role. And she played into that as her quality, not as something that limits her. She used the fact that she's short to make it her appeal, and to keep acting as short people, as children, and all the audience with her presence. And yeah, small jewel with a large shine. Little bit of bickering. Uh, and yeah, a real knee slapper from Hikari here. A real knee slapper. Uh, and now is the part for the discussion about the first OVA. And what is there to discuss besides the chronology? I guess I wasn't entirely clear on the chronology of the OVAs, but it seems to me like it takes place after the final battle, after Karen pulls Hikari out of this like white out world where she was trapped, and before they hold the actual play, the actual Starlight. I think that's where it's placed, somewhere in the middle of the final episode. And I guess that explains why Hikari is acting so bashful. She doesn't really know how to act because all this time, all throughout the season, she's been putting on that um, very hard, very tough persona, very tough outer shell, and now she no longer has to. And there's also, I think, some feelings of maybe remorse, kinda, sorta, at winning it and taking the chance away from everybody and not telling everybody what the deal is, and at betraying Karen, quote unquote, at just disappearing completely and not telling everybody what the deal is. And now she's returned. She no longer has to pretend. She no longer has the burden on her, and she doesn't exactly know how to act, how to familiarize herself with the other girls, and I think that's why she's acting so bashful and so removed, and she has trouble speaking up. I think that's it. I think that's it. What else about this OVA? I'm not sure why Karen wasn't having her measurements taken and instead she was just swinging the bat around. I have absolutely no clue, so I'm not even gonna try to guess. I guess Karen being Karen, although she had a look of determination on her face, so was she training her sword fighting abilities to stand on the review stage again? I don't know. I genuinely have no idea. And I guess that's it for the first OVA. It was cool, it was cute, pretty much exactly what I wanted. Some slice of life moments. Let me grab the second OVA right quick. There we go. And we can go back to giving you your timer, and we can start watching the second OVA of Revue Starlight, where I expect more slice of lifey comedic shenanigans, maybe with a little bit of an undertone of something deeper going on. Probably not much of it though. So let's start watching it in 3, 2, 1, go. Discussion. Junna is going to the rooftop. Hmm? What's going on? I don't understand. Yeah. No wakarimasu. No wakarimasu. Ah, they're playing the role or something? Okay, they're talking about understanding the character. Yeah, she really gets into character. But now it's Hikari who plays Claire, and Maya doesn't agree with the way Hikari plays her. Don't go full banana here. Even so, you want the character that you yourself got very much into to be given the proper respect that character deserves, to be played properly with all of the heart. And Karen's still playing baseball. And Hikari's acting me so strong, it created a shockwave that made Maya stumble. Yes, I can accept that, Claire. You have my approval. Just, clasp your hands without a word. Okay. I mean, it only shows how good of an actress you are. You're really getting into the character. Treating that character as a daughter of sorts and giving her away to someone else. Will that someone else be worthy of that character? Let out your frustrations. Scream, but still with a very sing-songy voice. Ah, but she didn't. Probably not. She has her honor. Oh, well, that's interesting to know. Someone probably tried to take her down a peg? Wakarimasu. Whomst? Oh, she's laughing. To the point where she literally spelled out that she's frustrated. Hell, there's still another year. You still have a chance to play the leading role, Juna. Not all is lost. Well, you just quoted yourself. I guess that also alleviated some of her burden of being the lead role, of all the expectations being placed upon her. Always being the lead must be tiring. Two different Claires. What would your Claire be? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Udon sounds nice, actually. Although it's very hard, very hot for udon, so maybe it doesn't sound as well as I thought it would. Yeah, just another set of little vignettes. So let's go through this set again. Well, I say a set of vignettes. It was really just a single vignette discussion about what Claire is as a character. Maya has her own image of Claire and her own way of playing her, and I guess it's hard to make peace with the fact that someone else is playing Claire now, and that someone else has a different take on that character. It's very common thing in pop culture, in like popular media, where you have some well-established character played by a well-established actor for like 10 years, and then sometime after they reboot the series with a new take on the character, with a new actor playing the leading role. Many people don't like that. And this is the same, but exacerbated by the fact that Maya played that character, didn't just grow close with that character by watching that character's exploits, but by being that character. So strong feelings are perfectly understandable here. It's snowing, apparently. Karen is playing baseball and she wants to plug the star together. Oh, no, it's. I think it's. Yeah, it's Hikari. It's Hikari saying that. And her take on Claire is different. She never abandoned me for a moment. She wants to express gratitude. And Maya wants to disagree with this take. She wants to be angry at it. She wants to say this is not Claire. But she can't. Because she knows that Hikari's take on Claire is just as valid. It's different, but it is valid. And she is the perfect person to play that character. And she needs to make peace with that. And she does make peace with it. She accepts Hikari's way of constructing the character. But she's frustrated because she promised herself to sing and dance the boldest so as to not lose to anyone, to always be the best, to always be the first. But alas, it is not always possible. I'd forgotten the very thing I tried not to forget. I'm not clear on that. I guess she's talking about... I thought I'd taken that frustration to heart. Sing and dance. I'm not entirely clear on that, but whatever. And she lets go of her frustrations. Even her screaming has that little bit of a... Is it called a vibrato? I think it's a vibrato. Her voice goes up and down, and it's all still very harmonic. It's not a scream of frustration. It's an opera scream, right? Standing on stage, right? It's this kind of a scream. Of course, it later gets hoarse, and she expresses her frustrations. She wanted to hinder Hikari, apparently, which is not particularly in character for her, or rather, the fact that she didn't do that is in character for her. She has her pride. She won't stoop down to unethical means to get her way. This is interesting, though. This is interesting. I'm not gonna do it, yeah, but I've had it done to me. That's very interesting. I honestly don't think it was Claudine. Absolutely not. Claudine again wouldn't stoop so low. Claudine wants to be the best. She wants to surpass Maya, but not through unethical means. She wants to surpass her through her own merit. So that leads me to believe it's something that Maya had to deal with in her previous school, probably when she was much younger. I can easily see it being a case of Maya kind of sort of alienating herself and being a very easy target for bullying. Acting high and mighty, being all haughty. Um, when someone tries to invite her out for karaoke or ice cream or something, she says no and goes to train. You know the archetype, right? Someone who tries their best to be the best at something and sacrifices all their social life for that, all their friendships, and becomes that odd one out, that weirdo who never hangs out with us, the easy target for bullying. And not only is she a weirdo that doesn't want to hang out with us, she has a superiority complex. I can very easily see that being the case. It's crazy how just a few lines from a character can imply so much about her past, especially if you're familiar with the usual tropes of anime and of character types and whatnot. I've been egotistical, forcing my feelings on you. Yeah, her take on Claire is different. And you have to deal with that. And Junna got to witness something interesting. There's nothing that exceeds the joy of being on stage. Exactly. We may not have the same amount of time on stage, but we have the same glimmer. When you start quoting yourself, that's not a great sign. I'm most grateful. What would you do if you were Claire? If it were me, I think I'll get some udon. I thought it says, I think I'd get some udon. Like, if it were me, if I was Claire, I would go and get some udon, but no, she just trails off, and this is a completely separate thought. Okay, that's OVA number 2. And another glimpse into their daily life. I think Karen is still swinging the bat, so I'm assuming it takes place not long after OVA 1. Again, in the period after Hikari returns and before the Starlight takes place. Um, hmm. And again, it was a very slice of lifey thing, as expected, but also had some additional depth to it. Something to think about, right? Different renditions of the same character, different versions, different takes. A little bit of Maya's backstory. I don't want to say tragic backstory, but it doesn't seem like her backstory was all that happy either. Um, yeah, a little bit of that additional depth, additional spice, so to speak. So it's not just some moe blob slice of life, there's some added substance to it. I liked it. I really, really did enjoy this OVA. It raises some very interesting points, very interesting discussion to be had, probably even more than the first OVA. The first OVA was mostly about Futaba's height in particular, although I guess it did raise the bigger point of overcoming your limitations, or rather doing what you love despite those limitations, or even playing into those limitations as your good traits. This one raises a wider point of different versions, different takes on a character, and how that can change and how people react to it, and the love for a character that one might have, especially if one plays that character. Very nice OVA overall. And here comes the last one, OVA number 3, titled Opening. There we go. Timer is reset, and we can start watching OVA number 3 in 3, 2, 1, go. Batting cages, is that what Karen was training for? She wants a reward. Probably a plushie for Hikari? Or a plushie for herself? Is it right before the play? Yeah, it's right before the play. And Karen isn't here. Of course you'd know that. I like how they had a chance to bond. You're afraid she's gonna try to play a secondary role as a lead, as if it was a lead? I guess so, yeah. The cat face. Yeah. You're talking an awful lot about Maya, aren't you? Oh? I mean, you kinda need that. You're a spoiled little Ojo-sama. You're not her rival. Yeah. Right back at you. Karen? Oh. Stage fright. Because Karen isn't here? Or because she's nervous? Yeah. Karen? No, it's not Karen. Why are you here, Mahiru? Some tea? She has absolutely everything. Chamomile sounds nice, actually. Yeah. Chamomile tea really has a nice scent, and it literally fills the entire room. She has full service. Hiatus, that's an interesting way to name it. Here she is with a plushie. To win a plushie. Right, Hikari does carry that, yeah, the little white bear with her. She can't exactly take it on the stage, but sure. That's why she's been training. That's a fast one. I'm glad she acknowledges it. Yeah. She's the lead. She can't exactly just go on stage halfway through the performance. She's there from the very beginning. Everything's gonna be just bun and ice. No worries. Yeah, the atmosphere of just having fun, really. Not going into it like super stressed and super seriously, just having fun. Because that's what it is about, having fun on stage. Spring has come, and everybody gathers to watch Starlight. Culmination. I like their new costumes compared to the previous year. I wasn't a huge fan of those turbans, they're called. I prefer the tiaras with a dangling gem. Let's Starlight. I thought for a moment they're doing the sumo wrestling opening of, you know, tapping their feet on the ground, but no, they were just moving onto the stage. And that's it. That was OVA number 3. Stop. this view. And yeah, let's go through it again, shall we? As usual, as always. Batting cages. Couldn't she have gone there earlier? Like the day before? Did she have to go? I mean, it's Karen, so yes, she did have to go there at the last possible moment, let's face it. I really like how Kaoruko and Claudine had a little chance to bond a little bit. I like it. It started way before, but they are kinda... They are kinda similar, right? Both are like high and mighty Ojo-samas who believe they're the best and whatnot. But they have a little bit of a different approach to that, right? Claudine wants to be the best and she does everything in her power to be the best, right? She goes for training, she trains constantly, she takes notes, she observes Maya very diligently, of course, only for science. She has no ulterior motives observing Maya, she just wants to know how to be the best. That's all that's needed. The whole album of Maya photos that she has and hides under her bed, it's just research. Trust me, it's just research. Nothing more. Meanwhile, Kaoruko has a very different approach to this. I want to be the very best, and I already am, so I don't need to do anything more. That's the vibe she's giving me, and she didn't really change much. There was a whole episode about her and Futaba, about how Futaba had to do her best to keep up with Kaoruko, and Kaoruko kind of just took a piss on it and didn't really bother training and whatnot. So she started falling down, and Futaba started rising up. Doesn't seem to me like Kaoruko changed much. Maybe she did, but doesn't seem that way. We'll bring this two down and get back our lead role, Seisho Claudian. Yeah, probably. Probably. Maya very much does enjoy the competition with Claudine because it also pushes her to still keep training and keep bettering herself. Because there's someone still chasing her and almost catching her by the heels, so she has to constantly push herself forward still to be that little bit ahead. Their little friendly competition, I think, really benefits the both of them. I did say I'd become the best in the world, but you're not really doing anything to do that. She shouts, aim to be the best in the world. She has me do stretches. It's all Futaba. Futaba is really pulling Kaoruko ahead. If not for Futaba, Kaoruko would just do nothing. She just lays around in her room and be satisfied with where she is, and she'd never try to grow. That's the vibe I'm getting, and I'm honestly not a huge fan of Kaoruko. Can I say it openly? I'm not a huge fan of her. I really am not. Futaba is great. She is not. The relationship Claire and Maya have, amazing. My favorite. Love it. Futaba and Kaoruko kinda seems like an abusive relationship to me, to be perfectly honest with you. And I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm really not a huge fan. Everybody in this show got some character growth in their specific episodes, right? There was an episode about Maya and Claudine, and both of them ended up better for it. There was an episode about Banana, hell, entire sub arc about Banana, and she got better for it. There was an episode about Junna, and she got better for it, right? Everybody got some character growth. The episode with Karuka and Futaba, didn't really change much. I was expecting the change similar to what happened with Karen when she finally got her shit together and started training and started trying to be the best, started actually striving instead of just lazing around and having to be woken up. She started waking up on time and doing the extra training and whatnot. I was hoping for a similar change, but there was none. I'm not a huge fan of her, I'll be honest. And of course, Hikari is nervous because Karen isn't here. But she's also nervous because she's nervous, of course. I know the feeling. Do I? I never really had stage fright, honestly. I'm trying to remember. I think I had stage fright like once, maybe? When I was performing kinda out of my element. Because it was a contest of. What was it called? Slamming? Kind of like a subgenre of rap or something like that. Someone from our school wrote the lyrics, and I was the one to perform them before like a fairly big audience from the entire voivodeship. So there were a lot of people there. Yeah, I had stage fright then because I was entirely out of my element. I usually would be acting and being an announcer and stuff like that. I didn't really have any experience with singing in front of an audience, and rap or slamming or whatever you want to call it is not entirely my genre either. So yeah, I had stage fright then. So I can see that. I know the feeling. I can say I know the feeling. I didn't have this kind of system of support though. They just immediately arrive, uh, petting her hand, uh, doing some other thing with her other hand, foot massage, chamomile tea, chocolate, and everything else. I didn't have that. I'd love to have it, but alas. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's her first performance after a hiatus. Sure, let's call it that. Absolutely, it's not as if she was whisked away to an alternative reality. It was just a hiatus. And here comes Karen at the last moment with a plushie, because of course. Because of course. I think just Karen's presence would have been enough to make Hikari forget her worries. But I guess Karen wanted to go above and beyond and bring her this plushie. And it is very much like Karen. Absolutely. It's already spring, the entire school is empty because everybody is on stage playing or watching. Let's Starlight! There it is. There it goes. Episode 3, or should I say OVA number 3. It was nice, although it had less of a message, quote unquote, than previous OVAs, right? The first one was about. What was the first one about? Yeah, it was about overcoming your shortcomings and trying to work with them. The second one was about being attached to a character and seeing that character have a different portrayal than what you're used to. This one, it's not entirely about stage fright. They're not really discussing stage fright or anything like that. I think this one was most most fan servicey and most final, kind of sort of fan servicey in the meaning that we got the one last bit of time spent with our favorite characters. We got a little bit of a talk about the relationship that Claudine and Maya have, a little bit of a talk about the relationship that Kaoruka and Futaba have. We got Karen acting like a complete goofball again, and we got everybody come together to help Hikari with her stage fright. And also, it's the moments leading to the 99th Starlight. So, yeah, it was fairly fan servicey, but not in like a bad meaning of the word. And it brought us some additional closure. I could fully see those OVAs being incorporated into the final episode. I can fully see that. If they made the decision to make the final episode like 40 minutes long, a double feature kind of deal, I could fully see those OVAs being integrated into it. Hikari gets rescued, and yeah, Hikari gets rescued, and we see all those OVAs as she's reintegrating herself into the group, and they're having some important talks. They go through the things they went through, and it all culminates in the preparation for Starlight. And through the rolling credits, we see the Starlight play, as we did in the final episode. Yeah, those OVAs really do match the show very much. Both in the vibe that I've been getting throughout the show, that all those characters would make for a great cast for a slice of life show. Just completely take away the supernatural and just have it be a bog standard, everyday, regular school idol kind of show. Except instead of singing or being in a band, they are playing. They are actresses and not songstresses. Um, it would work very much even if there wasn't any supernatural things. And I guess those three OVAs really show that it is indeed the case. But it's also very like the show itself for another reason. For the reason of added depth, especially in I guess in the first and in the second OVAs mostly. In the first OVA, we get a little bit of a bigger glance into Futaba. In the second OVA, we get a bit of a glance into Maya. Fairly large amount of a glance into Maya, actually, because not only into her thinking, she's always been a very hard to read character, right? Always smirking, always smiling. It's not really possible to see, to figure out what she's thinking. This episode gave us insight into what she's been thinking, and it also gave us a little bit of an insight into her past, which is very interesting. And again, makes sense for the kind of character she is. Uh, the third OVA, probably the most inconsequential kind of sorta. Uh, didn't really explore anybody particularly much. I guess maybe the relationship between Claudine and Maya and between Karuka and Futaba, but we really knew what their relationships look like, so it didn't really bring us any new information. Interesting to see that Hikari has so much stage fright. But then again, all throughout the OVAs, she's been acting fairly bashful. So I guess it again plays into the character she was shown to be. Mm, anything else that I need to say about this OVAs? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that's just it. I honestly expected to see full like 20 odd minutes each OVAs, and I'd love to see them. I'd love to see more time spent in a purely slice of life manner, completely discarding any semblance of supernatural. I would really love to see that. But alas, all that's left is the recap movie and then the sequel movie. I don't know what to expect from them. Rather, I know what to expect from the recap movie. It's supposed to be from more from Banana's perspective, I believe. and it's supposed to have some added scenes, some added material that flows nicely into the sequel movie, something along those lines, as far as I heard, and then the sequel movie, and I have absolutely no clue what the sequel movie will be, because the ending of this series is very much an ending. There isn't really much that I can say can be done besides like slice of life shenanigans. The whole review thing is done. It's a solved problem. So what can be the plot of the movie? I don't know. Then again, I've seen the finale of Shield Hero, and then it turns out there's episode 13 coming. Episode 12 was very much a finale, but apparently it wasn't a finale. There's one more episode, so I guess if the creators of that show can figure something out, then the creators of Starlight can also figure something out to continue a story from a point where seemingly there's no continuation to be had. I'm very interested in figuring out what that will be exactly. Now, I have to admit, my expectation was that it will be 3 full-time OVAs. It kind of throws a wrench into my plans because I will have to stream the recap movie a bit earlier than I would have liked. But oh well, I can handle it somehow. I'm gonna figure something out. Maybe I'm not gonna stream it this week. Maybe I'm gonna stream it the next week. We'll see. We'll see. Again, I'll figure something out. And what comes next after Revue Starlight? I don't know. I don't know yet. There is some shows, some contenders. Ascendance of a Bookworm, Madoka Magica. What else is there? A few other shows as well, and my patrons will be voting for that. Everybody who supports me for $5 a month or more, they're gonna have a right to vote, and after the voting is done, only then will we know what show won and what I'll be watching. So right now, that's gonna be it from me for today. So you guys leave a comment down below what you thought of these OVAs, of my reaction, of my theories. Did I have any? I guess maybe my theories about Maya's past, Maya's childhood counts as a theory. So what do you think of that? I don't know. Tell me about it. Like this video if you liked it, disliked it if you disliked it, but tell me why so I can improve. Subscribe to the channel to be notified of future releases, not only of other Revue Starlight things, but also Symphogear G, and also other shows that I will be watching. Probably Hataraku Mao-sama Season 2, Overlord Season 4, the one with the vampire girl by the author of Dagashikashi, whose name I forgot, and maybe one more show. Right, Ruby. I'm gonna start watching Ruby, the anime version, so stay subscribed to be notified about that and about live streams, because I do live stream every now and then. If you like what I'm doing, you can support the channel monetarily on Patreon or Throne, links in the description. On Patreon for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonal shows like Symphogear, like Revue Starlight, like whatever comes after Revue Starlight, and for $5 you can vote in the poll that is incoming, and for just $1 you get access to a special role on the Discord server, and you also get a place in the credits. And if you don't want to spend money, but still want to support the channel, you can do that as well by just sharing my content, spreading the word that, hey, a dude who makes reactions like this and commentaries and whatnot exists. You should check him out. He has some cool content. Go watch it. Because word of mouth really, really matters a lot to the growth of a channel. So I'm always grateful when you spread the word about it. You can join my Discord. I probably already mentioned that. There's a link here, there's a link in the description. It's completely open, free for everybody, so go ahead, join, and talk about stuff. And right now, it's gonna be it from me for today. So, as always, you guys hold the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's the credits that I mentioned. You can be a part of this list if you only so desire.